everyone, and this is a Popcorn Heroes review of Squid Games, a Netflix original show. I am Armando.
Yep.
With me, as always, is Pedro. Pedro,
Hello, hello.
what's up, man? What are you, a circle, square, or a triangle, man?
Square, baby.
Nice, all day, every
I'm
day.
a leader.
Nice, that's how you. That's how you do it.
Actually, you would have to be front man to be the leader. Square would still be a bitch, but whatever.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the latest sensation on Netflix. The latest foreign sensation, I would say.
Yeah, man.
A show from Korea called Squid Games that hit Netflix, and it's still number one in the rankings, which is insane.
Yeah.
After like 2 weeks.
It says number one in over 90 countries. This is a worldwide phenomenon.
That's insane, man.
It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Yeah, it's a good show, and you could definitely see why it is a hit, you know? But, ladies and gentlemen, in order to talk about Squid Games, we're going to have to jump straight into it. But before we do that, Pedro, give us your rating and would you recommend it?
So highly recommended. I would give it a 4.5. I'm shaving off a 0.5 for a reason that we'll get into a little later, but I will give it a 4.5. It's pretty spectacular show. Highly recommended, and cool. Even with the violent premise, it's not overly graphic.
No, it's
so
not. It fits the show.
So it's not. Yeah, so it's not like Saw or anything. If you guys are like, oh, it's gory, not at all. If you're any of the 5 people left in the world that haven't seen it, go watch it.
Yeah.
At least be part of the zeitgeist right now, you know?
I agree with you, Pedro. I'll give it a 4.5, and I also would recommend for people to watch it. It's a fantastic show. And like we usually say, Pedro, subbed over dubbed.
Always subbed over dubbed, man.
Sub over dubs,
because
man. Sub over
you gotta
dubs.
get it. You get the original acting. You get the original tone.
Yep.
You know, you get all of it. You get all the acting there. When it's dubbed, you're getting another person to try and
mimic
the mouth movement with a different wording that isn't the exact original translation. So, no. Yeah. I understand that some people are like, oh, I can't read fast enough. Well, get good. The fuck?
Get good. Yeah. Or you can always pause and rewind, but you know, I know some people don't want to continue to do that throughout.
Oh no, that would be annoying as fuck. You know, I will say the subtitles are quite fast in this show. There were 2 times in the entire 9 episodes that I had to pause and rewind a second because I'm like, wait, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
But that's it, though. I would say out of 9 episodes, I only had to pause twice. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I didn't have to rewind that much. I rewound because I got distracted. Like I was like, I drifted away, looking out to space. And I'm like, wait, I missed what they were saying. This is not an American language show. I gotta pay attention. But yeah, let's get into it, Pedro. Spoilers ahead. Spoilers. Pedro.
Spoilers ahead.
So I want to know, why did you shave off a 0.5?
The last episode.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I shaved off 0.5 for the last episode.
Yeah. I think the last half of the episode.
It was what was that?
The last half of the episode. After he met the old man, I thought he just kind of got stupid after that.
I agree. That's kind of why I did it. After that, I was like, oh, none of this is necessary. Only because you guys want a season 2. You're dragging it, and it kind of went in a direction. It's not necessarily the direction either. It was just the pacing, you know? It really, like, fucked with the pacing. You're just like, oh, okay, cool. And suddenly you're like, oh, all right. And I know HBO kind of has, like, a last episode where it puts it all together, but this one didn't feel satisfying.
Yeah.
At all. In any way. So that's kind of why. And then there was a weird, I mean, we're talking about spoilers already, so I'll just bring it up.
Yeah,
the fuck was up with that red hair?
Yeah, the red hair was stupid.
What was up with that?
It was very stupid.
It was dumb, and it was also extra dumb when you see the interview from the director, because people are really trying to like dive into it, like, oh, red represents the villain, so it's kind of showing that he's becoming them, or he's taking the power back, and everyone trying to make sense of this ridiculous red hair. And what did the director say? I did it because I wanted to show that he has inner rage. It's like,
yeah,
okay, there's way better ways to show inner rage than having this guy loud ass red anime hair. I was like, the fuck is this?
It kind of took me away from the ending of the show. I'm just like, this is just so out there and ridiculous and idiotic. Like I would never see him do that. It didn't match the tone
of the show.
Yeah. I would prefer him to get like a red ass suit or some shit like that. Like get decked out with the money he has or some shit. I don't know. Something that around that nature. Because he has money. He's never used it after all these years or months or whatever that has gone by. So it's kind of like, show me how he's going to use his money now to show his quote unquote inner rage or whatever it is you wanted to make it as.
Yeah.
It just felt redundant and pointless.
It could have been anything. I don't know. It's weird. You didn't even have to show anything physical. Just show him standing up to the slapper guy.
Yeah.
At the end, which is all we needed to know. Like, yo, that's it. He's ready. Like, clean him up.
Yeah.
Clean him up like they cleaned him up here, and show him stand up to the slapper guy. And same thing, but without the red hair. That's all it is.
The red hair was so stupid.
It just took me out of it. I didn't need hair to tell me this motherfucker mad.
Yeah.
I know he's mad.
Yeah, especially after he saw the slapper guy, he just went fucking insane.
Yeah.
So it made sense why he would lose it after continuing to see this shit happening. But yeah, man. So let's start off from the top. The opening episode. This guy's broke as fuck.
Let's rewind.
He's
terrible
broke as
father.
Fuck. Terrible father. Essentially has money, gambled the money, and lost it all.
Steals from his mom.
His mom is all fucked up. I think that was one of the sad parts where, like, he treated his mom so poorly, and then after he survived this fucking horrendous thing that happened to him, he comes home and he finds his mom dead. It's like, fuck, dude. You missed your mom's death.
And here's something interesting too, because I kind of thought it when he said it. When he's on his way back after the first game is over, he comes back home. They drop him off. He's with the pickpocket girl, and he's tied up. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let you go because then you're gonna like bother me for the money." And he's like, "No, I won't bother you. I swear on my mom's life." And then she lets him go. And what does he do? He goes and fucking attacks her. And then it's like, oh shit, it's kind of like a weird little, oh shit, you swore on your mom's life, now she's fucking dead. Like, it's a weird karma, fate thing that you kind of like, you tempted fate, I should say, is the right term. So it's like, oh shit, yeah, man, you shouldn't have fucking said that. There's obviously a connection with that, like that had to be written there on purpose for that.
I mean, if you think about it, that money essentially is tied to his mom, because he took that money from his mom, in which he went gambling with it, made money, and he ran into that girl, when he crashed into her, he loses the money, she takes it. So like that money is just essentially tied to his mom. That he would have never had that money if it wasn't for his mom, which gave him that money. So it's kind of like, it's just this vicious cycle, and he ended up dying. He wasn't there when his mom died because he went out there to get money. So it's just kind of like this fucking horrendous cycle he's been in of money revolving around his life, and how he easily loses it,
Yeah.
And it kind of hurts to everybody around him because his mom died.
It almost
she fucking was working nonstop. He was a bum. So
yeah. So watching that first episode, the first half of the episode before the games begin, I was like, yo, this is giving me Uncut Gems vibes, because you're seeing the addiction, essentially the addiction of like the rush of got to make that money, and then we're here, betting on and it's wild too, because he bets on the horse, and then he has to use the daughter's birthday, that he forgot, you know?
Yeah.
No, he forgot his mom's. He didn't forget his daughter's. He forgot his mom's birthday.
No,
But
it was
anyways,
his daughter's
regardless,
birthday. Because remember, he was gonna meet up with her later on that day. And he was gonna take her out to that dinner and all that shit, and like he lost it all.
Yeah. Yeah. So, right, I was saying he forgot the mom's birthday because he was trying to put it in as a pin to steal the money. And he's like, "Oh, try your mom's birthday," and then he hesitates, like, "You don't know your mom's birthday?" And he's like, whatever." So yeah, it was just this total setup of like a fuck up, everything. And I'm like, man, this is a completely unlikable character. Like, they're setting you up to go, this guy is the worst of the worst. You're supposed to hate him, right? And then the show starts and you're like, he's not that bad.
You're like, I like this guy. He's the nicest one here.
It's so wild. It's so wild how they did that. They made you, because I hated him in the beginning. I'm like, man, I'm supposed to root for this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, man, I am rooting for this motherfucker.
and I love
it was just such a great thing.
He was the nicest, like, most gullible person in those shows.
Optimistic.
Yeah,
naive.
there you go. Optimistic. Yeah. I would have said
he was a child.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. He was a child in a grown man's body.
Yeah, essentially. He never grew up, and that's why he was a fuck up. So he's a man child, and that's what it was. And you noticed it when he's there, because it's like, oh, we got this. We're going to be okay. And it's like, people are fucking dying, and he's still like, come on, let's team up with the fucking old man and all that. It's like, no one smart would ever do that, And then, of course, the pride and joy of the crew that's supposed to be is his friend, which was like, everyone in that small little village would talk about how successful he was. Which at first I also thought they were brothers, but then I started realizing, I'm like, oh no, he was just the pride and joy of the area, that the mom would brag about him, and then I guess his own mom would be like, why aren't you more like him, and then when you see this twist of he's part of the games and he's way worse off, you're like, yeah, the dude
and he's an asshole.
His mom's house, his mom's house and business on the line. It's like, oof, that's rough. So I feel he's definitely, like, he's essentially the villain, in one of the villains in the show for sure.
He's that hidden villain to the main character.
Yeah,
he doesn't know he's a villain until the end.
But I still feel, at least for me, they still did a good job when he went. The episode where he goes back home, where all of them go back home. I actually really liked that episode. Some people are like, it's the episode where they're not doing games. It's just back out in the real world.
No,
but
it's an important
needed.
one.
You need to see why everyone's there. The main ones, at least. You need to see what they're all suffering, that they're all in the same boat. And I love that episode. So when you get to, here, let me look up his name real quick. Sang-woo, the pride and joy, and you see the total fuck up he is, where he put his mom's house and job on the line if he doesn't pay it back. It's like, oh, dude. And then she doesn't know. She's completely unaware. I understand why he did the things he did during the game. Because he wasn't doing it for him. He was doing it for his mom. He's doing it to save his mom.
Yeah.
And not be a total fuck up. So when he did all the betrayals and all the douchiness and all that, I'm like, man, this guy's terrible. But at the end of the day, it's like, I mean,
you got to play the game.
Yeah, man. The only thing that he did that made me go, yo, what the fuck, was the cookie game, where he didn't give him a heads up even though he knew what it was.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the one where he's like, hey, I'm gonna go do Umbrella, and he pauses and you see that whole thing of like, oh yeah, okay, go do it. And it's like, you know what it is, dude. Oh my god.
It's curious.
That's the part where I was like, that's fucked up. I know it's because he wanted to get rid of competition. I get it, but not your boy, not yet. Like, come on, dude.
Exactly.
It's the second game. Like, why are you already? I don't know. That's the only decision where I'm like, nah, man.
It's those machinations where you saw him like, oh, this guy's gonna go down a dark path, and like this is the beginning of that dark path. You know,
definitely. And man, they started real dark. He essentially let his friend go to die.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because
he thought he ain't coming out.
And if you think about that, the old man chose the hardest one, which is the star.
No, the hardest is the umbrella. The star is hard.
The second hardest.
As hard as the. Yeah.
And it's funny that he didn't win until until the main character gave him the idea to lick it, because he was also the old man was also losing there, and that's how he became really good friends with the main character, was because of that game.
Yeah, it's true. I think I did also see that he was kind of losing. I think but the workers knew who the old man was. So if it came to it, they would have probably just been like, lifted him up, walked him over to a corner, and shoot off screen or something, you know? If it came to that, I think so. But yeah, that is interesting that he totally was like, yeah, I'm not gonna beat this in time until the licking thing happened.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
And he chose that. It's not like he knew the game, but he chose he Star on purpose, you know?
Right.
Which is interesting.
Or maybe he didn't know the game. Maybe he got thrown in there like, hey, enjoy it. We'll always give you a safety, but enjoy it with the mystery of what's going to be next. It could just be that. Like, he wanted to actually be like, I want the rush of being put in there.
I don't think so, dude. Because if you think about it, remember, they're saying that on the wall, all the games were there. So that means this place has historically always been used the same way. So I don't think that they'll just...
I don't think it's been the same games because of what the VIP said. They're like, oh,
well, what did he say?
New one. The VIPs were like, oh, what's this? Ooh, we're excited, because they didn't know what the games were, the VIPs. So I think they just change it every season, the walls.
Okay.
And they did mention, oh man, South Korea's games are always the best. They're always the wildest. That's what one of the VIPs say. So it's that also opens up that there's multiple countries doing it.
Yeah.
So that'll tie into it a little bit more. But I think that it's a seasonal thing.
Yeah. You know what I find curious?
At least the bridge one. The bridge one was seasonal because that's the one that they got in and they reacted to.
Yeah. You know what I find curious about like American actors in foreign shows, that they're fucking terrible.
Yeah, they never get good.
Oh my god,
actors,
they're
man.
so bad, dude. I'm just like, where are you finding these people?
Not all of them were bad. Not all of them were, but they're very B-list.
I think they're worse than that, dude. I think because I've seen a lot of foreign shows, and whenever there's a foreign, like an American in that show, they're the worst part of that show.
It's almost always.
And I'm just like, I don't know if it's because of direction, the director's not giving them the best directions, and they can't understand, so they're just kind of doing whatever performance they think is best. But man, it's just so awful, dude. The acting is horrendous. Whenever I see an American,
it is. It feels very cartoony when they do it. But I do agree with you.
Yeah, it sounds bad.
Because the acting in the show from the Koreans is good.
Oh, it's good.
For pretty much, the main guy was awesome.
The Pakistani guy was acting off too.
I keep saying the brother. Who?
The Pakistani guy's acting was kind of off too.
It was and it wasn't. I think it was pretty strong, especially his main last episode was I thought.
His last episode was great. Yeah.
The thing is, I don't think it's his acting was bad. I think he also came off as very naive. He's a very naive, trusting person. So I don't think it's his acting style. I think it's just his character comes off as very like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, thank you so much. And he's doing the whole like super proper way of like talking to people. I just think it's very like a humble thing. I don't think his acting was bad though.
I also
justice for 199, man.
Damn. R.I.P. baby. R.I.P. I also find it very curious that he was also looked down upon, right? The Pakistani guy between the Koreans.
I know.
I had a big sense of that.
Of probably. I know for sure they were looking down on the old guy, obviously, because of his age, and they were looking down on the women because they thought everything was going to be physical. So they were like, we need men in our team. No one wants women, for sure. I don't remember them looking down on him that much. And if it was the bully gangster guy, which he was looking down on anyway.
But
So
down in a sense of in a sense of he was less than them. Like, like in a way of like, oh, he's not Korean, so he's less than us. You know, like essentially.
He's a foreigner.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they also had the Filipino guy that helped them with the tug of war, and they didn't really act different with him either. So no, I'm planning on watching this a second time, but I didn't get that. I didn't get that vibe that anyone was looking down on him because he was Middle Eastern. Yeah, and if I did, it was probably the gangster guy.
Yeah, I got that vibe a lot, especially from the pride of the town.
Ah, yes, Sangwoo. Maybe actually. Now that you mentioned it, he might have. Yeah, man. They were definitely setting him up to be like to be a villain.
Yeah,
undercover villain there.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the games and themselves? You know, the first one was red light, green light. That was a pretty interesting one. I love that.
Man, that first episode was so fucking good. Like, you could have just showed me the pilot and I would have been like, whoa, this is like the best, one of the best pilots I've seen in a long time. Yeah. Like, it got you hooked. It told you everything and it ended on such a great fucking ending. And then you had the... Fuck, what was the song they were playing? Fly Me to the Moon. Oh my god. What a great way to do it. And... You want to hear the ironic thing? I don't know if irony is like the right term, but the funny thing about it is that so Netflix got the rights to Evangelion.
Oh shit!
And Evangelion, their credits is that version of Fly Me to the Moon.
Oh shit!
But for some reason, Netflix didn't want to pay the rights for that because I guess it was too expensive. So when you watch Evangelion on Netflix, it has a sad end credit scene. It's like a piano part, and you're like, oh, that's weird. But they used that song in Squid Game, so I'm like, wait, did you pay for it or did you not? Like, I'm so confused. Why didn't you pay for it for a show? Because it's just classic. That song goes with Evangelion. It's just big. So the fact that you didn't want to cough it up, but then you showed it in this show for one episode, it's like, wait a minute. I'm so confused as to how this works now. Now I'm almost hoping that I turn on Evangelion and the song's back and be like, oh, you bought it or something. Or maybe it had to do with just the one episode. I don't know. But I just found that really funny when I heard it. I'm like, oh, I love this song. Oh my God, this is the Evangelion song. Oh my God, what the fuck? And then it works so good with just the quiet slaughtering of everyone.
Yeah.
Just a great, like you like to say, a great juxtaposition of just the chaos.
Exactly.
The violence.
It was insane, especially when like everybody was started rushing towards the back and just everyone was getting slaughtered, dude. Everybody, right. Dude. Like I think more like maybe half of the people died in that one game.
Oh yeah, it was something like that. And then of course it ends with one of the a bunch of TikToks keep mimicking it where he's falling and you're like, oh no, and then that's when the Pakistani dude just grabs him and you're like, and then that's when the song stops and you're like, oh. And then it continues to when they jump at the end. I'm like, man, what a great... Yeah. The way that first episode is written and filmed and everything is just fucking work of art. Honestly.
And what a save by the Pakistani dude, too. Like, fucking grabbing him and holding him. Still.
By...
oh, Jesus Christ. That's...
Ali. That's what his name was, Ali.
Yeah, like, that was just insane. The
199.
Whole... That sequence, dude. It was just insane.
Yeah, what a great sequence. So, I did like... I was a little... I did like the glass scene the way it was, but it didn't feel like a children's game to me.
No, it didn't.
The first one is red light, green light, children's. The second one is the cookies, which is a very popular thing they do over there. And then the third one was the tug of war, great children's stuff. But then the fourth one was that one. And I'm like, I don't quite see how that translates to a children's game that you would play in the playground. The last one was obvious, the actual Squid Game, because they set it up in the first episode. Yeah. In the beginning.
I think it was supposed to be hopscotch
because it essentially just could have been hopscotch.
I think the bridge is supposed to be hopscotch.
It didn't translate well to hopscotch though, so and it's not even like a thing of skill. That was like pure luck. Like you had to be at the end to survive. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
So it just felt like it kind of, when you think about what the games are supposed to be, I mean, at the end of the day, it is just entertainment for the rich. So I guess there's that. But the way they pretend that the games are, it's about where everyone has a chance, you know. But then you get to that one, and it's like, but that's bullshit. You're only the last person is gonna win.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird, but then I keep thinking back to it. It's just a bunch of rich fucks that just want to bet on people. So at the end of the day, I don't think too hard about it because I think it's like the Purge. It's like
for sure. Yeah, but the thing is that the whole point of this game is that everyone had a chance, right? Everyone has a chance to survive and get out. And that was the one game that no one had a chance in. Unless you were the last person.
In the beginning of where you want. Yeah. You choose where you want, but it doesn't.
The chance of like if you want to be first at the end, but in reality, there's no chance in that game. Like if you weren't the last person to go, you're going to lose, like automatically.
Yeah.
Like if you were the first one, you were always like fated to die, because you had to guess, and there's the chances will definitely choose wrong.
Yeah. And I don't want to pull apart. I don't want to pull apart the show too much, but the logic of you knowing that there's going to be 3 people left to do the triangle, because that's one of the drawings on the wall. It's the triangle table with the 3 people there. And it's like, how did you know there was going to be 3 at the end of this? Let alone, you're having 3 people at the end of the triangle dinner, but then you're going to have the last game with only 2, because that game is only played with 2. So it's like, how did you know someone was going to die between here and there? So that logic part, the more I think about that, I'm like, wait a minute. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand how this happened, unless they were expecting to give them the knife that one would die already.
Probably, yeah. Probably one
Which
of them.
is why they gave him the knife.
Yeah, they were supposed to kill each other. Somebody was supposed to die in the middle of the night.
Dude, and let's talk about the fucking... So they finish the hopscotch glass thing, and then it explodes the glass all over.
I was literally about to say that to you right now. What's the point of doing that?
What kind of douchiness was that? You cut everyone up. You kill everyone's girl. Like, everyone's fave, dude.
Yeah. I didn't understand that, though. I didn't understand the point of breaking up and exploding all that glass. Like, there's literally no relevancy to it.
The only thing that makes sense is you keep chalking it up to entertainment for the rich fucks. That's the only thing that makes sense. It was them kind of going like, yeah, what a great finale. Haha, look at that. They got hurt, you know. That's the only thing that makes sense. It stopped being about a game of survival and it started being about just be entertaining. You know, it's kind of like in a gladiator fight scene. It's like, we're going to add tigers. Why? Well, why the fuck not? You know, I feel like that's just that. It's just became entertainment. At least that's the only thing that makes sense in my head, because I was also going like, what the fuck was that? And you impaled this chick. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of fucked her over at that point.
It was just, yeah, big time. So it was just a little weird, but just keep thinking about rich fucks don't care, and it's all about that, and it's a pessimistic view of life. And yeah, it's kind of it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I find interesting is that, you know, because the old man was the final vote for everyone to go back home, and I was reading somewhere there like saying, oh, you know, the reason why the old man voted is because he wanted to give everyone a chance to come back on their own will. He didn't want to force anybody to be there without them wanting to be there. That's the whole fucking point of this whole shit.
Right, yeah.
I'm just like, damn, that's a pretty interesting take of like how he chose everybody leave, and then if you want to come back, you know?
Yeah. It was to like ease, I wouldn't say ease his conscience, because he's clearly been doing it for a long time, so he clearly doesn't have one. But I guess he just wanted to add to what he calls the quote-unquote fairness of it. Like, if you die going forward, it's your own fault. But, here's the but to that one.
Okay.
He specifically hunts down the main character, Gi-hun, and sits down with him and convinces him to go back. So it's like, you knew this guy wasn't going to tag along, but you went, oh, wait, I'm going to go back. So, you know? And it's like, oh, shit. You kind of like manipulated him into going back. So yeah,
and I think that's why he took it so personal at the end.
Yeah,
Because he's like, yo, you convinced me to do this, and you were behind all this the entire time. Like, what the fuck? That's very interesting.
Which, if you think about it, the old dude is totally Jigsaw from Saw.
Yeah, he is.
It's the same thing. It's like, hey, I have a tumor. I have a brain tumor. A bunch of people are going to play games now to the death to show, how it is.
But he's been doing the games before he got the tumor, though. He's been doing it for a long time.
That's also true. Yeah.
Because he was like, I was bored and I had money and I wanted to do something. I wanted to give people chances.
It's essentially him and all the other money lenders got together and they're like, let's just fucking do some gladiator shit. And then this old man was probably like, oh, let's do it like... Which also gets me thinking, I think that only the Korean one is childhood games. I think everyone else, all the other countries are probably doing more gladiator stuff, you know? And that's probably why they were so excited to go to the South Korean one to watch it. Because like, oh, the fact that it's like kids game stuff, like game show-ish is more fun to them. That's my theory.
Interesting. Did you suspect the old man to be the one behind it all?
No, but the only reason why I kind of suspected and I kept thinking I don't see that possible is, I was slower to watch the show, and every time you open up Google or any social media or whatever, they would always show like the old man, and they showed the scene of where the little girl was scanning everyone, and it showed the old man wasn't scanned, but it also showed a woman next to him also wasn't scanned. So I'm like, are they implying that he's not being scanned? Because clearly it's just a color issue. So I didn't buy that. Even now, I don't buy it. I think he did get scanned. But anyways, when I saw that in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, so they're implying he's an inside job. So I'm watching, and I'm like, maybe. And then I saw the scene where the first night that they all fight, and then it's like a riot and chaos. And I'm like, oh shit, the old man disappeared. And then he just appeared again. And I'm like, oh yeah, something's going on. But then I saw him in the tug of war, and I'm like, wait a minute, this dude could really die right now. And he was losing in the cookie thing. But then, this is way after the show, I went back and I saw someone point it out that when they finally win the tug of war game, you look at their arms, they all have the lock, and the old man did not have a lock.
That's interesting because I saw it differently. Because in the middle of the tug of war, he was locked.
Right, but when he falls down, he isn't. I don't know if that's a continuity error where they just didn't want to lock the old man in. But when he lays down and they all go,
and he was the only one smiling too during that part.
Oh, I took the smiling part as the guy's got his brains all jumbled and he's probably just excited by getting back into the whole, childhood thing. That's what I thought in the red light, green light. When I saw that, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
The guy's
in
just
the red light,
living...
green, I thought he was just excited because he's doing a childhood game he's probably hadn't done in years.
Yeah, so I was laughing at that part where he does the smile and he's the first one to move. I'm like, oh shit, this old man is fucking crazy. And I'm like, his brain is junk because you already saw that he was forgetting things. I'm like, this guy thinks he's in a playground right now. Oh shit.
Do you think in the dice game he actually was forgetting? I mean, I forgot the name of that game.
Oh,
well, you think he was actually forgetting? Yeah. He was just toying with him at that point.
I think he was toying with him. I think he was just trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
Of like, look at the depths you would go to. You would cheat. You would fuck with an old man for that. Because he was like, oh, you're messing with me. And then he kind of like plays it off like, oh, never mind. I think he just did it to prove a point.
Yeah.
Here's the theory with that. Everyone had to pair up, right? But there's obviously an odd person out. The girl. And everyone assumed it's because the girl was going to get killed. But when they get back, the girl is alive. So the theory is that the old man got the water bottle. Because remember, they were all given water bottles. And he sprayed it on himself to make it look like he wet himself so that no one can pick him. And he was supposed to be the odd man out to survive, to make it. And that would have been his way out. Like, oh, no one picked him. And then they would have fake killed him.
Interesting.
But since the main character is so trusting, he picked him anyways. And that's when he's like, oh, shit. Okay, well, don't kill this girl because it's not her fault for not getting picked. So they let her live. That's the theory, that they let her live for that because that was supposed to be the old man's spot to write him off the games. Because no matter what, he wasn't going to do the glass thing. because that's where the VIPs have to go and witness the games. So no matter what, he had to be in the VIP booth. He just happened to change his mind at the end because he's like, nah, this ain't the same. So it's a pretty good theory.
It is a good theory. I didn't think about it that way. I just thought that he. I always thought he was just toying with him.
Any way.
Yeah.
He's just trying to find any way out, and I think at the same time prove a point. Like, look at the depths you will go to. You would fuck with an old man, like, just to cheat. And of course, Sang-woo did the same shit for our boy Ali.
Ooh, man, that was the sad one, dude.
Oof.
That switch, that sleight of hand he did there, that was insane.
So there were 3 sad ones. You know, the old man, because if you didn't see that coming, it's sad, right? And then you have the Ali that was super sad, and then you get the girls.
The girls was the saddest one, though, dude. Oh my god, because you finally find that girl's story. Her story of the like her dad beat the shit out of his mom, and he killed her. So then she killed her dad, and then she went to jail for it. And she had just been released from prison. So I'm just like, oh my god, how, like, what more sad can it get than the fucking shittiest life you've ever had, you know?
Yeah. So when you saw it, you're like, oh man. So yeah, that one was rough. I was like, oof, and I knew she was gonna do that when she tossed the thing. I was like, man, she's gonna drop it. I was like, oh no. So that was so you had 3. If you weren't expecting the old man thing, you had 3 sad moments of like, oof. All of our characters had some rough ones to get there.
Yeah, they did. And that but I think the 2 girls was probably the strongest, toughest one. It was just it's the one that hit the hardest. Because you hear that shitty life that girl had, and then you have the other shitty life of the other girl who, you know, a defector who's trying to get her family back. Yeah. And it's just like, fuck, dude, like, you guys had the worst lives ever. But one had something to live for. I also knew
there was so much foreshadowing about Sang-woo being a piece of shit that I was just kind of like, I already know where this is going, man. Fuck. I knew it. So I don't know if you were there. I was talking about it at work. So all of their deaths were foreshadowed. The main people. Yeah. When the voting was complete and they all went back home to try to like gather if they're gonna come back to the games or not, they all went through some shit that all foreshadowed the way they would all eventually die. So you have the gangster guy, to escape from all the other gangsters that were after him, he jumped off the bridge, fell into the water, and he ends up dying by falling to his death in the glass game. And then you have Ali, which he was owed money from the employer, and the guy wasn't giving it to him, so he stole the money and ran. And he dies because Sang-woo in the game steals his marbles and replaces them with stones. So he got fucking dead because of that. And then you have I forgot her name, 67, the girl, the North Korean defector. She when she went back, she held a knife to this guy's neck, and then that's how she ends up getting killed, because Sang-woo fucking slits her throat. So there was foreshadowed there. And then of course Sang-woo was so depressed by everything he had done, like all the money he lost. Pretty much he was gonna ruin his mom's life, and he was like, I can't live with this anymore. So he goes to the bathtub about to kill himself, and then he ends up killing himself in the Squid Games. So all of their main deaths all got foreshadowed. I thought that was pretty bonkers when someone pointed that out.
That's pretty unique how that shit played out. Damn, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until you said that. I'm just like, damn, that's some crazy ass shit, man. Like that's some really good storytelling there. Because you don't realize it, you don't think about it until the end. After all that went.
That's honestly some like Breaking Bad level of foreshadowing. Because Breaking Bad is probably like one of the best shows of all time, and their level of foreshadowing is just like top notch. So when I saw this, I was like, oh shit, here we go. So you have this, and then you got I swear on my mom's life. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
You got all these moments in.
And the old man too, once you start realizing the stuff that the old man did.
Of course. Right. I'm excited to watch it a second time, because I know I've seen videos of people recapping all the stuff, but I want to actually see it and see what I can catch.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Do you think the brother is dead?
So that's a big part now. The whole subplot of the cop looking after trying to find his
His
brother,
brother, yeah.
who's a participant in the games. Did they mention how long he was missing? That's what I was curious about. How much time has passed?
Well, the brother, you see what year the brother is in, but I don't remember what year it was. I think it was like 2015 or some shit like that.
Okay, so it's been about 5 to 6 years.
I didn't expect that to be his brother until the end. When he right before he took off his mask, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be his brother. And then shit.
Because I thought he was just gonna shoot him and be like, I can't take off my mask. That's the rules. But when he actually started taking it off, the act of taking it off made it go, okay, this is someone. This is the brother. And I was like, oh man, what a brutal one. So I actually like that subplot because it was needed. So he was the point of view that we were following to see the inner workings of the games, to see that the soldiers are just as much prisoners as the actual contestants.
Yeah.
There's a whole other theory about that as well. If the slapper, remember he says choose a color. The theory is that if you would have chose red, you would have been picked as a soldier rather than a contestant.
Yeah, I heard that one too. Yeah.
Because you have the blue suit or you have the red suit. So you get that. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat, actually.
It's a good one,
It's probably true. Because they obviously were all fuck-ups trying to get money because they were doing the whole organ harvesting thing. So they're all probably got debts. Then they're trying to make money to get out of the debts. So you could see they were all desperate. They weren't just mindless henchmen robots. Everyone was in there for a reason and trying to get out. So
exactly.
All that was cool. We got to see all of that. And then, of course, you have the payoff of this guy's the brother and he gets shot. So I think he's alive. I think he's alive.
I think he's alive too. I think if we're gonna go into what we think about next season, I truly believe that next season is gonna be the main character trying to take down the organization, but at the same time, that cop is gonna help him.
Yeah,
do that.
And I think at the same time, there's gonna be a subplot that we're gonna kind of follow of a new game starting in a different country. And then we'll be able to see it through the point of view of a new contestant. And then maybe they'll stop it before it ends or something. I think that's kind of what they'll play with. And then we'll see whatever country they decide to choose and look at different games that they have. I think that'll be going on at the same time.
That would be pretty sweet because then it's a different country and you get to see the different ways the games get played. If they even do children games, maybe like you said, they actually do different games that have nothing to do with kids past or whatever. So
it could be.
So or
it is, and because there's a very popular question going around where everyone's doing their own version of Squid Games, but for their country. So for example, people are like, oh, in America we would do like musical chairs. Can you imagine musical chairs Squid Game, or hide and seek, shit like that? And it's like, oh, okay. So maybe just because it captured the imagination of everyone, going like, oh my god, kid game. Like youth and death, like oh my god, like the juxtaposition of that shit. Maybe they'll just keep it that way, and then just play around with different kids' games. I would like that. I think it's a better way to go by it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it at all. Yeah, I think we touched upon a lot of things here. I don't really feel that. I don't have anything else to say about Squid Games other than it's good.
I will say to end it, because we're talking about like ending scenes, I will say I did like the last scene with the old man.
Yeah,
because it was just a battle of ideologies. It was like, hey, let's play a last game, a final game with me. I don't think anyone's gonna help this guy. This guy's just gonna die there. And he's just like, no, someone will help. And it was the pessimism of just this money gambling, bored, rich, old guy that just wanted to watch people die for entertainment. And it's just like, yeah, fuck it. This guy's going to die because no one cares. And then he still kept his optimism that he had in the whole show of like, no, someone will help. And then someone does help. I thought it was a good scene. I thought he was just going to run down there and help him himself, but whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I'm like, it's getting close. Just run down there and do it and prove your point. But then maybe the guy will die by the time you get up. I was already thinking he's probably going to die by the time you get up and you won't get your satisfaction. But whatever. The route they did was just as good because it still showed that people are good, inherently good.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That scene was pretty good.
I like that scene. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a really good scene. I feel like there's one more thing I just thought about it and I forgot. It's, I mean, they show had a lot of little things in it. You know, it had the organ side plot, the brother side plot,
Yeah.
the whole,
I was gonna say each of the characters had their own side plots.
Yeah. So at the end of it all, when we see the whole wrapping up, he goes and saves 179. What was her name?
67's brother.
He went to go save 67's brother after all these years, because he's like, I don't know if it was years or months or whatever. It's kind of like, oh, after all this time, now you want to go save him. And
I know. I was like, I get that you don't want to touch your money, but bro, save the kid, because you were supposed to. He didn't do the promise. It got interrupted, but it's like, come on. So it was at least better late than never, I suppose.
Yeah, and he also saved the mother's business because he also gave her money, which I find interesting. Why do you feel that he left the kid with the mom?
Because he was gonna go and be with his. He wants the kid to stay in South Korea, because the idea is that eventually the boy's mom will find her way there as well, because she's stuck in China. That's what it was. It was the in-between between North Korea and South Korea. You don't directly cross. You go to China first, then you go. I think she said in the thing that her dad tried to cross and he got shot. So keep the kid in South Korea. Wait for the mom to arrive, and in the meantime, stay with the lady, and then give her the money to support the business whenever they all come in and ask for the money back, which was half. He split the money in half because he was like, I'm gonna split it with you.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It just makes sense. Which she's gonna be balling, because I forgot the math. We did the math the other day, and I think it was like 48 million.
Yeah, something like that.
So let's just say that's 24 million that old lady got. God damn.
Yeah. Well, she's gonna open up her own business and all that, because he said that she willing to do a store, like a grocery store, something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's gonna be good, dude.
And let's see what he does.
Yeah. All right. Any last thoughts, Pedro, before we wrap this up?
Nah, he should have got on the fucking plane, but oh well. There had to be a season 2.
It's the revenge story now, man. He's gonna go after everybody. He's gonna shut these games down. He's like, no one's ever gonna suffer again.
Yeah,
that's what season 2 is gonna be about.
It makes sense.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think about the show. You can let us know at Popcorn Heroes on Instagram and at popcornheroes@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about Squid Games. Do you agree with us? What are your predictions for next season? Let us know. Till next time.
Bye-bye.